that we're allowed to do it, but then when it gets out of hand, you really can't control that.
Well, it's one of the reasons that we also wanted to sell all alcohol on the inside, so that we're judging individuals and their consumption, how they're ordering, having 1 to 2 people as the point of sale, so that all sales go directly through them, and they can tell that person's had, 4 beers in a very, short amount of time. Talk with them, counsel them, try to back them off, offer them food. The whole tips program comes into play.
Okay, then here's the last thing that comes into play. What about the bikers that are the individuals, I don't want to say bikers, that tend to bring their own drinks with them out in the parking lot that you don't know?
Well, that's why we would be there walking around.
Okay, let me finish first.
I'm sorry.
With the cup, then after you go around, then all of a sudden they pour it and tip the cup back up. I mean, you can't control that.
No, I understand that. It's also pretty tough to do it at most sporting events and just about anything else that takes place. But that's one of the reasons that we would be policing and walking the parking lots. We can also let the head of the organizations know that absolutely positively nothing can be brought on the property that isn't bought from there, because we have to monitor consumption.
So then, Norman, if that's his property, why would we have to give him a waiver if he's going to do it on his own property? Normally when we waive,
Because it's in town limits.
just because it's in town.
Town limits, it's one specific section of the code that encompasses, and it says on an adjacent parking area or other outside area of any retail establishment. Because this is outside park of town, he could have it anytime he wanted to, because it's legal within the premises. The liquor board grants the license to the premises.
Okay.
I know since we started the car shows, I'm constantly asked for a bike show. And I think the one thing, and Commissioner Piner brought up the word biker, and the word biker has changed over the past several years. As you see him sitting here in a suit and tie, it says he's a biker. But there's a lot of people that are putting a lot of money in these bikes, and they want to show them off. And I know that. And I understand you're a new business, and it is something that's going to bring you business to help you stay in business, because I know how well the businesses do downtown with the car shows. I think it may be something we should look at for if the board chose to go with this, but to look at it for the first few weeks to see how it works and to make sure there are no problems. But I understand where you're coming from, and I think you presented to us very well. You're not holding anything back, and
I'm very forthright on things, especially, and I'm really trying not to use all my Cecil County colloquialisms, but I really piss the liquor board off, because I'm the one that always calls asking questions, and they're usually telling me, go ahead and do it, and if you do something wrong, we find out about it, then we have an issue. I'm like, no, I want to be proactive and not break any laws. Especially, not just laws, but people's feelings in the neighborhood. I don't give any grief to any other businesses in town. I usually wear a Howard House shirt when I'm working at our place, and people look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, no, I like the Howard House and the people that are there. But I try to support everything that goes on. But I will be the first person that puts the kibosh on this if I think for 1 minute that it isn't anything that I would be proud of. And I can't be more honest when I say that. If you guys would permit us to do it once or twice, I'll reappear at the next show, showing here, and let you know what I think, the good, the bad, and any issues that we had. I'll make sure I check with the police department to find out if there was any calls in or any complaints well beforehand. Try to address anything humanly possible.
When were you planning to initiate this?
This Tuesday. We squashed going out in the parking lot the last 2 weeks, waiting for this meeting to show up.
Yeah, I saw it last time, you had it scheduled, but we didn't meet that week. And that's the week that you wanted to bring it to the board. I saw the date.
Well, I just found out about 48 hours earlier that I needed to make sure that I was clear with the town of Elkton. This wasn't something that you just do and hope you don't get caught.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Mike McKinney.
Mike McKinney? Mr. McKinney. I'm a biker as well. I'm also certified MVA instructor. So anytime you mix alcohol and bikes, I've got a concern and it's an issue for me. I hear two things. I hear a bike show and then I hear a bike night. Are you going to be doing the same or having two different events, type events?
Well, the first time that we have it outside, it's a bike show.
Okay.
We're planning on doing the bike show at least on a monthly event. But we were planning on doing the bike night every Tuesday night.
Okay. Okay. And would you be able to give me an example of what you call out of hand behavior that would cause you to not, have the alcohol in the parking lot?
Well, individuals that are acting inappropriately with their motorcycles in either a dangerous or loud fashion, people that are, I don't want to make it sound like I got my own noise meter, but when things get to the point where it's just too loud, I mean, it's a very easy thing for people to know that this is not a good situation, and particularly language outside. I don't want to make it sound like it's appropriate to use the proper language inside, but you're also inside of a bar. Somebody says, I want to say a hell or a damn, that's one thing, but when you're outside and then very, very inappropriate language is used in a neighborhood, which can filter into someone's house, I have an issue with that.
Sure.
But that's my thing. I don't want to upset anyone that's behind us. I also don't want to upset anyone that's traveling any of those thoroughfares. That's why we would make sure that, we're constantly looking at the parking lot, constantly looking inside so that there are no issues.
Okay. Also, what's the advantage? What would be the advantage to your business to allow that to happen in your parking lot?
Only that we're having, like you're saying, the bike show. We're
No.
going around judging.
Okay.
People want to stand next to their motorcycle, be proud of it. I don't want to make it sound like they don't want to stand there without a beer in their hand. But, there's the point where they're inside, there's the point when they're outside. There might be 1 or 2 hours of being outside looking at bikes and talking and, going around. I don't, here I sound terrible. I'm missing sales then. Guys can buy their beer inside, walk outside, drink it next to their bike. They want another one, they go inside and get it. But that it also helps me with my occupancy as far as people inside the building, people outside the building. People that I have outside the building, it tends not to get as hot, people bumping into each other. Because it's be more than standing room only. We would achieve, hopefully, maximum occupancy. But that occupancy would not be just inside the building, it would be outside the building also. So.
What is your occupancy inside?
68.
68?
If there's a distinction between, as Commissioner Hicks just said, between bike night and bike show, what days would they occur? Would they be at the same time, which I don't think, or would they be, or how would you have those laid out?
Well, the first night that we do it, we're going to do the bike show.
And that's when you judge bikes.
Correct. The rest of the nights of the month, we would be looking at bike night. But depending upon the amount of bikers that we have that come into our facility, it's also, like we're saying, advantageous for us to be able to serve, allow them to go outside in a cup that you can't see through, so that, people aren't standing too close to each other, bumping into each other on the inside of the place, and our occupancy is spread out on the property.
And this waiver that you're seeking would be specifically for these dates only, correct?
Currently, if it if it proved to be something that was lucrative for us and we could handle, I would like to have it every Tuesday. But, you know, just to get started, if we could have it for the first, you know, night, which would be this coming Tuesday, I can report back to you after that, let you know how everything went.
And I was down to Charlestown, it might have been a week ago, might have been 9-10 days, I'm not sure. But there was 110 bikers that come through and stopped at the little restaurant right in the downtown of Charlestown. I think so. And I made a comment. They said bikers come through here all the time. They stop there and they eat and they go. But I mean, how can I stop them from coming through in a group? How can I stop them from drinking or whatever they're doing at the bar or restaurant? You know, I come past your establishment when I go to work, and I've seen maybe as many as 12 to 15 bikes out there that I happen to look over and see. I really haven't noticed anything different the last couple of weeks, but I have noticed since you've been open because I come there a lot. I come past there a lot. And I'm just commenting that because whether you were to come here and get permission and you had bikers come and serve alcohol, the only way we would know is from either any incidents or police reports or somebody coming complaining. So my point I'm saying is I wouldn't have any control based on what's going on in your establishment unless there was problems. After saying that, if we do grant this or we do it on a trial basis, that's what really would determine the shutdown if we do allow it. So I'm just stating my stand on that because I really don't indulge in the drinking and the driving. But that's the point I have.
We haven't had any issues with anyone there yet as far as fights, as far as tempers. You know, and I need to say we have had at least 10 individuals that we have cut off and 3 we have asked not to come back in because of their inability to handle alcohol. We have called taxi services twice because we didn't want them to leave the building, not because they asked for it, but we wouldn't allow them to drive home. And they had come in, seemed fine, they were served 1 beer, and then you could tell how inebriated they were. I have an extremely elaborate camera system, DVR, set up inside there to where there is not 1 inch of the inside of that building, with the exceptions of the bathrooms, that is not monitored and recorded at all times. We have panic switches set up for not only fight, but you know, a robbery. The one that you push that says that there's a fight also sets off a siren that would, when we tested it, I didn't like it. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Nevertheless, we've done everything that we can to put as many security features into that building as possible, which also includes 2 cameras going down the hallways to the bathrooms. Every night I fast forward through things to find out if more than 1 person comes out of a bathroom. I think everyone knows what usually happens when more than 1 or individuals in the bathroom for a long period of time. Usually something inappropriate's happened. I'm not being the eye in the sky or overly paranoid, but I absolutely refuse for that place to obtain the reputation that it once had. I understand when the Maloney's had it, it was pretty reputable, but there was some issues in between owners that we're trying to diffuse and make sure that we're not guilty by association.
And what's the time frame that you mentioned you wanted to have this again?
6 until 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, that's the board's wishes. Yeah.
And just to be clear, you have not received a consensus from the neighborhood.
No, I haven't. Like you saying, the one house that's totally adjacent to our
Right.
property. I've been there twice, and it was just young people. I want to talk to the owners, the adults that are there. I will be doing